So you want to scale your e-commerce business, and I'm here to teach you how. My name's Trevor with E-commerce Paradise. I've built 7-figure stores in the past. Now I work with clients only through my agency. What we do is we build and launch stores as well as manage and scale them. If you want to learn more, ecommerceparadise.com, and we have a free 1,000 plus niches list for you at ecommerceparadise.com/niches. So go check that out. Go get that niches list. Lots of good high ticket product ideas if you're just starting out. And it comes with a free blueprint on how to grow your business, how to build it, scale it, launch it, scale it, all that stuff. It's included. So go check that out. And if you're just getting started, there's also a mini course as well. ecommerceparadise.com/mini course. All right. So yeah, scaling is all about branching off and doing all sorts of different marketing and advertising and, SEO and getting more suppliers and onboarding those suppliers, posting more content, optimizing your product descriptions, building out funnels, doing things that get people excited to be on your email list, like giveaways, doing things that make sense, like breaking down your product catalogs into high margin versus low margin products, and then optimizing your ads so that you only spend money on those high margin products. You can spend money on ads all day, but if it's either to somebody who's not really interested, or if it's for an offer that doesn't really make sense, you're not going to make money. So you've got to break down your price guides into the profitable products. You're probably going to have all products be profitable, but there are some times where shipping costs can make it so an order isn't profitable. And so you got to be careful sometimes with certain suppliers. They have like their warehouses on, the West Coast, and someone orders from the East Coast. It can make it so that your orders are not profitable. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. You can set up custom shipping parameters and, things like that to make it so that you charge shipping and checkout for certain states for certain suppliers. But then again, every supplier's catalog is going to have variations of products. There's going to be big products that cost more and products that cost less. So usually what I just do is build into the shipping policy a little thing that states that we offer free shipping store-wide, but sometimes orders can cost more to ship than usual. In that case, we'll send you an email and let you know, and then there's going to be a custom invoice. So that's just baked into the shipping policy. Sometimes customers get pissed off. Sometimes, they don't mind. And then also, when you're just getting started, it's always better to pick a niche with like more simple, less expensive to ship products as well. There's plenty of those available, like for instance, there's scopes, like rifle scopes, or like binoculars, like $1,000 binoculars. Those things are, not too complex, and they're fairly small, so they don't cost too much to ship. Stuff like that is a great place to start. But the number one thing I found that makes a business scalable is your suppliers, and finding the suppliers that are less competitive than other ones. That's kind of one of the main things, because when you have suppliers that are really competitive, it can make it hard to get sales. You're gonna have to work so much harder. You gotta provide free gifts and all sorts of add-ons, and just, your offers gotta be amazing, and you gotta build out that like, hey, we're a small business, do business with us because we're gonna give you more, better customer service than you would from a bigger business, kind of a thing. You gotta build out stuff that's like, we're supporting, charity with a portion of our profits, and do all the stuff that small businesses do, There's a lot of ways that you can win, but there's also a lot of ways you can lose. And other, especially the big box stores, they have huge marketing budgets and they have investors. So they can sell stuff at a loss sometimes and still be okay with it. Whereas if you're bootstrapping your business, maybe it doesn't make sense to do that for you, So you got to consider that there's going to be things that you need to dive into. Okay, so that's why I usually recommend starting with like a single product category site. That way you don't get too distracted at first. And then find those suppliers that aren't so competitive. And the funny thing is, usually we would go after the best selling suppliers, but those actually aren't always the best ones to work with. The best suppliers to work with sometimes are those like ones in the middle. They're not like the best sellers, but they're not also the ones that don't sell at all. They're like the ones that sell sometimes. But generally speaking, they have easier to manage catalogs, like less products in general. They offer better margins, generally. That's not always how it is, but generally. Because they're trying to get more established, so they give the dealer better margins to do some of the marketing and advertising work for them. Kind of makes sense. So, but sometimes these suppliers are like really hard to get. Sometimes they're very difficult to get on board. You have to like go meet them in person at like trade shows and stuff and build relationships with them, or go to their office or something. So it's like high ticket dropshipping works, but there's like secrets to making it work, especially nowadays with a new store. You've got to be willing to dive into these niches, find those suppliers that are going to do well for you. And sometimes it's just kind of trial and error, throwing stuff at the wall. If you get a supplier on board, you just end up spending a bunch on ads and you never get many sales. It's probably a good idea just not to like spend so much on ads, and don't like worry about updating their catalog and stuff. There's apps now you can use to like, automatically update inventory and sync prices. And so what I would say is just like, if it's a supplier where, they're not selling really well and you end up spending a lot on ads, lower the bids significantly. Just put everything in stock. Set up some price update automation so you don't end up spending any time and wasting time and money dealing with it. And then at that point, you're able to just kind of cruise. If you get an order that's out of stock, you just cancel it before you capture the payment. You're not out anything. You're not spending so much on ads. And try to go after those suppliers that really work well for you. I think that's just the key to doing business and successfully, is doing that kind of stuff. You got to do that. But yeah, beyond that, everything else, you got to have good marketing funnels set up. You got to have good customer service. But one of the best things you can do to help yourself, where like you wake up every day and you think, what am I going to work on today in my business, is that you streamline your processes. Like make checklists of things to do. Build that stuff out in spreadsheets. It's like the easiest way to do it. Make videos of yourself doing it, and like guides and checklists of actually doing it. And then you can easily know like what you need to do, when to do it, how to do it. It's good to remind yourself every day on stuff like that. And it's also really amazing for hiring people to do it for you. You can hire full-time assistants in the Philippines for like $3 an hour. They'll do all sorts of stuff for you. But in order to do that, you have to, write down how you do it first, take notes on how you do it, film yourself doing it, and then put it into like a list format so that you can easily refer back to it. It's kind of like making a course, but for your internal VAs. They're called standard operating procedures, generally speaking. And it's just kind of like, you got to tell them what to do. And if something happens, then this is what you do, It's kind of like building a computer program. You do the same stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the work that needs to be done. We do this every single day for our clients. If you're interested in getting it done for you, just go to ecommerceparadise.com/turnkey. That's our store build and launch service. Or go to ecommerceparadise.com/management. That's our full service management and scaling package. We're expanding on it now so we can offer more services. At the moment, we have a baseline service for $2,000 a month, where we just do a dedicated VA for customer service and order processing and sales and all that stuff. And then I have our bigger team do onboarding. I'm going to have expanded packages where you can have a dedicated VA for actually doing constant catalog onboarding to scale, and then a separate package beyond that, even for a separate dedicated VA to do SEO, content, backlinks, outreach, because all that stuff takes a lot of work and a lot of time. So I'm excited about the future. High ticket's a great way to go, just because you're dealing directly with brands, so you have authorized dealer agreements, and it's the best way to do business online. If you want to create your own product, go for it. It's just a whole nother business model. I can help you with that too, but again, a ton of work. So if you're willing to do the work, it'll work. but you got to be willing to do the work. With that, I'll finish this off. Thanks so much, guys. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.